So for those of us who don't know who you are or what your story is, who is Jitendra Patel? Is being an entrepreneur something that you'd always, had always been part of your DNA? It's something that you always wanted to do? Welcome to the JOD Pod, a micro podcast where we interview entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, authors, and coaches. Today, we are very lucky to be joined by Jitendra Patel, a serial entrepreneur. He's the founder of Wow Cocktails, JCP Consultancy Talent Search, and Just Beauty Shop. Jitendra, great having you on the JOD Pod.
Thank you very much for inviting me, James. Very much appreciated, and it's an honor and a privilege to be on here.
Thanks, Jitendra. So for those of us who don't know who you are or what your story is, who is Jitendra Patel?
Good question. So my name is Jitendra Patel. Jitendra actually means to win. So the Jit means to win. I was born in a small town in Kenya, right on the equator line, called Kisumu in East Africa. I owe everything that I am to obviously my parents, etc., but Africa, because at a young age, I was asked to go to school at about 6 or 7 years of age, and my first day at school, they wouldn't let me sit next to my best friend, so I ran back home. The teacher ran back home with me and grabbed me by the ear and took me back to school, and my mum said, yeah, take him back. And I made an executive decision, I guess at the age of 7, that I will never ever go to school again. Okay. And that was my only exposure to authority. So after that, I used to truant and then roam around the neighborhoods and do all sorts of things as a child through innocent eyes. And I owe so much to just those moments. And the reason why I say that is it gave me, I wasn't exposed, no one told me how to think. No one told me how to behave. No one told me, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but rules, which are also restrictions. Okay, they're your boundary lines. And so for me, there was no boundary line. Nature was my boundary line. The universe was my boundary line. And I watched people, I watched ants, I watched ladybirds. I used to watch these things, and I was fascinated of how things happened. And I used to put ladybirds in a glass bottle. Unfortunately, I didn't understand the concept of breathing. So now I learned you had to put a hole at the top, etc. But you do all this crazy stuff as kids. But this is your learning playground. So that taught me a lot. I then came to this country because we had British passports, apparently. So my parents went from India to Kenya. And so they were given British passports to be working in Kenya. And so I came to this country at the age of 8 and 2 days and couldn't speak a word of English, never saw snow. So in November, when I saw snow, I was like, what the hell is this white stuff coming out the sky, etc. Anyway, school wasn't brilliant. The teachers were rubbish at teaching English and whatever. So I ended up learning English by waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning with my dad. He used to have a shave, and that was his habit. So I used to get up with him cold February mornings and watch Open University programs. No idea what they were talking about, no idea about the maths and all of that. But what I did learn was how to speak clear, logical English, which is what mathematicians do. There's no flowery language there. It's all very precise. And I learned how to spell English there. I learned how to spell. I used to hate spelling lessons. I learned how to spell reading The Economist and the Financial Times. And so, it's been very much a journey of self-taught. So then from that, I've learned Ayurveda, I've learned Feng Shui, I've done bricklaying course, etc., etc. Anyway, I went to university, City University, got a 2-1 in economics and accountancy. I was told I was one mark or 2 marks away from a first. Because the lecturer, my tutor, told my other friend, but he didn't tell me I was 2 marks away from a first, and that would have been a first at economics in the university. But anyway, then I went on to do a chartered accountancy, and the why there is my dad was a bookkeeper, so I thought, well, the next step up from a bookkeeper is a professional accountant. So let me become an accountant. My wife won't have to work, and I don't mean that in a sexist way, but just from a providing for your family point of view. And so I qualified. I got first-time passes. For somebody who couldn't speak English, to have first-time passes in chartered accountancy, where you had to pass all 5 exams. If you failed one, you had to do the lot again. Was quite an achievement. So I'm very proud of that. But I've been there, done it. It's like, okay, what's next? So I went into industry. So with due respect to all the accountants out there, accountants talk about true and fair, but if you can't value people on your balance sheet, then what's the point of talking about true and fair? So I never really agreed with that true and fair concept, the way the accountants look at it. So I went into industry to do things that I wanted to do, to help people, motivate people, coach people, and all of those things. So I've been in industry. I worked for a large insurance company collecting, being an international internal auditor, implementing a global accounting system for them before the parent company. So I told the parent company we're going to go in first. And then when 9/11 happened, I used to collect their money for them. And I collected $1.4 billion for the insurance company. Loved it. Absolutely loved collecting money. I set my own team up, kept it for 10 years, no change. We went from 250 million turnover to 1.4 billion without any increase in headcount. And each year we had a better collection statistic. So even when the 2006 to 8 crisis, the Euro crisis, we still had better collection figures. When everybody had excuses not to pay you, we found ways of getting paid, etc. And I owed that to my team, my coaching of that team, etc. But they were stars, they were superstars. But not from a finance background, I must add. One was from Swiss ticketing office, etc. Anyway, so I've been doing all of that. I've always been interested in business. I used to have a buy-to-let property portfolio. I went to Docklands when it was flat and started investing in Docklands. I had 11 buy-to-lets, I think £3 million portfolio, etc. Sold all that out because I realized I was on an ego trip. All of those things. But I think like a year after I got married, my dad passed away. Now, I think that people need to understand this is me. So that was my best friend, and I lost my best friend. And I had a nervous breakdown after that. I was working for Ernst & Winnie then, and nothing in life meant anything. And I think a lot of people relate that if they've got a loss in their family. And it took me a long time to get over that, but I did, and I carried on with my career and all other things, and progressed, etc., etc. And then I remember being at a wedding and talking to my second youngest. I'm the youngest in the family of 8, and my brother, who worked for the same company for 32 years, and he was going to retire at 60. And he went on a holiday just before he went to retire, and he died in his sleep, and that knocked me back because my elder brothers were still around, and I was like, fuck. So I did a 100k walk, Putney to Henley-on-Thames, 100k walk, Thames Path walk it's called. And 3 days before that, my eldest sister passed away. And I looked up at the sky and I thought, someone's got a weird sense of humor, I mean, like, really? But I think most people would have given up at that point. But I made a decision that I will walk. I will carry on doing that walk, and I raised money for her charity as well. And I think what I learned in that process is I learned how deep I can fall and still come back. And that's what I call your elasticity in life. How deep can you go and still bounce back? Bit of like a bungee jump, okay? And that which doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. So all of these things, when bad things happen, my brain is now hardwired. When, as you might know, when bad things happen, I know something good is about to happen. And all I got to do is see the time through. Just got to see this phase through. And I think I would like to put this message out to other people out there as well, is, when bad things are happening in your life, and it could be over a year, it could be over 10 years, it could be over even 20 years, it has to turn at some point. I mean, that's just the natural law of oscillation. It has to turn at some point, and your day will come, and you just got to see the phase through. But if you give up on life at any point in there, well, all I can say is you've lost the game of life. So and then I've been starting an online business. So this year I'm going to turn 60. It'll be my 35th anniversary on the same day. I got married on my birthday. So I've never had a birthday since. You'll understand by that. It's always an anniversary. It's never your birthday on the cake, right? It's never your birthday. So I'm still 25. And I made a decision that I'm not going to work for anybody anymore. And I'm going to just work for myself, do all the things I want to do. And I've set up all these businesses. So I'd already set up the Just Beauty shop. But I guess maybe that might be another question, perhaps.
What an intro! Thanks, Jitendra. Incredible downs that you're describing there. Appreciate you being so so vulnerable with us. But essentially a fantastic story to go alongside that. One of the things that we're trying to do on the JOD Pod is to inspire other people to step out their comfort zones and start things for themselves. Is being an entrepreneur something that you'd always, had always been part of your DNA? It's something that you always wanted to do? Or is it something that, or is that just been catalyzed because of your life experience to this point?
Well, I guess if I go back to that executive decision I made at the age of 7, not to go to school anymore and come out of my comfort zone and not do what everybody else is doing and explore the landscape, for want of a better word, for myself, not to be told anything. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to trap ladybirds in a glass bottle without putting holes on the top, etc. But that's part of your learning phase, okay? And I'm not proud of that, by the way. But as an innocent child, that's what you do, right? You don't have any bad intention. You have good intentions, but they actually are not great. So an entrepreneur's journey is, if anybody ever says to you, an entrepreneur's journey is smooth, it's all about the money and driving fast cars and whatever else, I'd go and be bold enough to say, you know what, they're talking bullshit and they're lying, okay? An entrepreneur's journey is never, ever a smooth journey. If you want a smooth journey, don't become an entrepreneur. I can tell you that right now, okay? Don't do it. Do a 9-to-5 job, you'll be safe. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to be prepared to take risk. You don't take risk, and I've been listening to, during the pandemic, I've been listening to some inspirational speeches by Mr. Washington. He said, if you're ever going to fall forward, Steve Jobs, take risks, okay? Les Brown and all of these guys, they all talk about the same thing, Oprah, they all went through all sorts of, I don't know if I can say the word, but they all went through, and you can bleep it out, they went through all sorts of shit, right? But you have to go through the shit. You can't get the rainbow without the storm. It just can't happen. So you need to understand how life works. And so you need to understand when the rainstorm shows up. You need to understand, the rainstorm is showing up. Couple of minutes later, the rainbow's coming. But if you bow out, you won't see the rainbow. It's as simple as that. So I guess in answer to your question, the entrepreneur's journey is, it's alone. You're on your own. You're taking risks. And I think the biggest thing about entrepreneurs, you have to be visionary and you have to take people with you on your journey, okay? You've got the journey in your head. It's your job to convince other people to join you. You can't do this on your own. There's no way any entrepreneur has ever succeeded by just working on his own. That just isn't going to happen. So you have to build a team around you, and you have to be able to build that team around you. You have to convince them to buy into your vision. Once they've bought into your vision, and I don't like to use these terms because a lot of coaches use these terms, you get a little tribe together, okay? All right? So of all people, I was in Africa, so there were tribes, but you get a little following together. And then if you're all singing from the same hymn sheet, you can go and you can have fun, and you can create some serious damage, disruption. And if you're not doing that, then I'd have to ask you, what's the point? What value are you adding to society, life, the universe, or anyone? Because if you're not adding any value, then what gives you the right to occupy this little space on Earth?
Segue on from that value piece. Jitendra. What again? And a question that I ask a lot of people that come on the show is about how they got their first customer, because a lot of people come up with ideas for businesses. They build websites, they start social media channels, but until you get someone else to pay you money for the thing that you've started, it's not really a proper thing at all. I was just wondering if you can remember how you got your first customer and what that looked like.
So I'm sorry about this. It's 2 customers, okay?
You're allowed 2 customers. Okay. That's fine.
So the first customer was me. I used to work in Windsor, and there was a bar called Ha Ha Bar right in the station, and I literally went up. Okay, this is what's this called? Apprentice Sugar, Alan Sugar. This is Alan Sugar stuff, right? I literally went into the bar and said, I'm introducing this cocktail glass to the world. How many do you want? She said, I'll buy 100 glasses, get them delivered. That's £1,000 cash to deliver 100 glasses. That was my first sale. At the same time, like in the universe, I was going to work. I was working, and I was at Coulson South Station. I got a call, and he said, "Oh, this is Nesbitt's. We've seen your front cover of Bar Magazine," which is, just to say, I'm not talking. That's the front cover of Bar Magazine in 2009. That's the glass, okay? That's $10,000 worth of computer graphics, okay? Anyway, they said, we've seen the glass, a cruise liner wants your glass. Can you get it delivered in 2 weeks? They're docking in Southampton 2 weeks. We've got to get it in a week. Can you get it to us? I said, fine. My terms are cash on delivery. They said, no. Do you know who we are? We're Nesbitt's. I said, yeah, you told me you're Nesbitt's. You're the biggest distributor of glass in the event. So anyway, I said, well, look, I'm not a bank. Do I look like a bank? I'm not a bank, okay? So, it's cash on delivery, okay? So they said, sorry, and put the phone down. Half an hour later, they called back and said, our client wants the glass. We'll pay you cash on delivery, 50% now, 50% you deliver. I said, I'll deliver the glass myself. I'll drive all the way to Bristol and I'll deliver the glass myself. And I did that. And you've got to do this stuff because that's the joy. But the takeaway from that is, and I love these situations. I love David and Goliath situations. Yeah. Like, yeah, I might be David and you might be Goliath, but you might just stand a chance. And so the David and Goliath situations are, if you back yourself and stand firm, the universe will have to yield to you. That's it.
Jitendra, that's wonderful. Is that literally the first effort that you had of selling anything? Of walking into a bar and saying,
yeah, because
how many do you want?
Yeah, because the only reason why I got global distribution to the glass is I had this epiphany moment that I wanted to help people with charity, okay? So I was on a business trip in Frankfurt and I saw this glass being used by the inventor in a 5-star hotel. And these Americans would say, oh, we can sell a lot of these in our country and blah, 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 blah. No disrespect to Americans, but that's how they talk. And 6 months later, I said, Fatih, how many have you sold? He says, none. They just talk bullshit. So I said, look, give me the glass. I've got zero experience in selling. Okay? But I'm hungry. I'm humble. I hope I'm humble. I'm hungry. Give me the glass. I'll make it my business to sell it. And he gave me the global distribution rights without zero selling experience. And then I learned how to sell. I went on Joe Beaufont's, how to sell a pen, and I did this program. I coach people now on how to sell a pen, which is the art of selling is not to sell. You've got to become a friend first. And so for me, yes, that's exactly how it was. And, we're now relaunching this class, by the way, into an unbreakable version, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute, who it's for. But I gave it to a friend of mine who I sold to at Hilton Pop Bar as well. So I went to Hilton Pop Bar and said, do you want the glass? And she said, yeah. Anyway, I gave it to her. She's working somewhere else and she's using the glass and she's scared of serving the glass to somebody just in case they break it because it's the original glass. So I said, take a risk, just do it. Do I give her monkeys if you break it? So she served it to this old couple. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think they're a 70-year-old couple. And they said, "Oh, we love the glass. Where can we get it?" So she gave them my website, the WoW one, not the Gemini one. And they actually went on and bought 2 glasses off the website. And I phoned him up and I said, "Listen, how do you know about my glass? I'm not even selling to the public." And he said, "Oh, well, Marie just served." Oh, I said, "Oh, now I know. You're the couple who love the glass. You know what? I'll honor it. I will sell it to you." And I posted it out to Huddersfield or wherever they were going. But
Wonderful. So is this what you're concentrating on now? Like, you've got lots of different businesses, but is it all about the Gemini glass? Tell us about that. What is it? What's it about? Who's it for?
So this is the glass. This is the Gemini Chiller
Beautiful.
cocktail glass, and it's 2 pieces. Okay, so that's the cup. Okay, and that's the bottom. In the bottom, it's got a hole in the middle, but you fill it up with crushed ice. Okay, so just to make it simple for you guys, that's the Gemini Chiller system. Just to get a glimpse. So basically, what we're doing, there's 4 pillars to this glass. The first pillar, the reason why it was invented was the original martini. I don't even drink. Okay, the original martini was never to be drunk diluted with ice. But we don't have a solution. So what do? We put ice and chill it down. This, you serve the martini neat into the cup. Okay. And by the way, we're bringing an unbreakable version of this. And then you fill it up with crushed ice. It will keep the cocktail. And you can go, there's a YouTube channel where you can see the inventor using it. It will keep your cocktail cold for 30 minutes to 40 minutes. But it's great for ice creams. It's great for prawn cocktails, for caviars, desserts, ice liqueurs, etc., etc. So not only will it be your starter, your cocktail drink, it will be your starter. It can't do main meals, okay, because that's pretty hot stuff to put in there, okay, unless it's a cold main meal. Then you can have your dessert in it, and you can have your ice liqueur in it. So it's the whole customer journey. So 1, for the purist. 2, it's Fateh's dream to make it a people's glass. I want to make it a people's glass. So I want people to make money from this, not just me, but people. So I want bartenders and waitresses and other people to introduce the glass to their organizations eventually when we make it available to them, and become affiliates and earn 10%. I'll give them 10% commission. I don't care. 10% of the commission of the revenue goes to a water charity in Africa that builds sand dams. And next year, hopefully, I'll go there and build a sand dam myself. That will provide fresh water for villages in Africa, and which is a great ecosystem and everything. And then the 4th, but equally as important, is about the experience. The customer experience from drinking from one of these, I assure you, when somebody sees this rock up on somebody else's table, the first thing you're going to say is, "Look, cancel my dessert, cancel my, can I have one of those, please? Thank you very much." And I think, and I know that sounds, it's not meant to sound arrogant or all those things. It's just human nature. Yeah, it's like magpies. I'm not saying this is tacky and shiny. I'm just saying it's beautiful. And people get attracted by something that's different, challenges the norm, and they want to experience it. And with all this pent-up demand,
it's the experience.
With all this pent-up demand, you can't spend money on holidays. People want to go and have a blast, and they want to have a good experience. I'm not saying they should get faceless. I'm just saying they should have a nice experience.
No, I think it looks wonderful, Jitendra. I think one of the pictures that I saw online was a prawn cocktail being served in that, and I think that looks absolutely fantastic. It does. I love a martini myself, and so I think that's something that would very much interest me to get involved in that in the hot summer that we're expecting here in the UK. Where's the best place for people to go and find out about the Gemini glass?
So at the moment, we've got a makeshift website. There's 2 websites. There's one, Wow Cocktails, which is the original one, but we've got because Wow Cocktail makes us think that we're doing cocktails. We're not. We're selling the glass. So it's www.geminichiller.co.uk. And if you got time, I'll tell you why we call it Gemini Chiller.
Tell me.
So when I was in Frankfurt, I cut the video. By the way, the video you see on YouTube, I cut that video, okay, with Fateh and choreographed it, etc. But then I went and asked somebody, like, if you were to call this glass something, what would you call it? And he said Gemini Chiller. And I said, why Gemini Chiller? He said Gemini because of the two pieces, yeah? Two-piece sign Gemini. And Chiller because it keeps your cocktail cold, right? So I thought, that's pretty cool. We'll call it Gemini Chiller. And I've stayed true to that chap that's the first market research feedback of what we should call the glass. Not what I think, not what Fateh thinks, not what anybody else thinks. This is a customer telling us what we should call the glass. So I'm running with
Excellent.
that.
Wonderful. I can totally see that on, high-end dining, cruise ships, cocktail bars, but also, as you say, through the whole restaurant experience. Really excited for you there, Jitendra. There's so much energy that you've got amongst that, and yeah, exciting. I look forward to my first martini in the glass. I really do. I'll do a selfie with the glasses on with it.
When we get the new
my glasses with your glasses.
Yeah, when we get the glass, I'll make sure we send you a glass. So one of the things we're going to do is when we get the new unbreakable version, I'm going to do a martini in the old glass, a martini in the new glass, and if you can't, and we'll do a spot the difference competition. If you can't spot the difference, then we've got a replacement glass that you can't break. You can use it outside. Can you imagine in Dubai and places like that, you're roaming around on the beach with a glass that doesn't break into glass pieces? And one of the biggest challenges, in fact, I was talking to Marie yesterday. I said, tell me your 99 problems. But one of the biggest problems, he said, breakages. If the glass breaks, it's a health and safety issue. How many times have we all been in a restaurant and all of a sudden you hear that break and everybody goes, whoa. Well, this glass is going to silence everyone because you won't be able to go whoa anymore.
I've been that waiter, so I know exactly what they're going through. I understand. Jitendra, thanks for that. Are you ready for some quick fire questions, Jitendra?
Sure.
Jitendra, what's your favorite app or SaaS product that you use every day that you can't get enough of?
So I don't do Facebook or any of that stuff, but I use WhatsApp. And the reason why I use WhatsApp is I practice the wheel of life every day. So I do all 8 aspects of my life every day. And so in the morning, I connect with people spiritually. I send them spiritual message just so that they are conscious of being grateful for everything we have, okay? So I use WhatsApp every morning. I sleep about 5 hours a day, and I send that out first thing in the morning. Then I go to the gym and do other stuff. But yeah, so I guess it's WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, wonderful. Such a ubiquitous app; it's everywhere. And if that's what you're using the most, that's awesome. And what a lovely way to use it.
And YouTube, because I watch all the DJ Snake and videos at the gym, and also the spiritual songs at the gym. I'm listening to all of that stuff while I'm doing the gym.
Fantastic. That's a great recommendation as well. We'll come to your YouTube a little bit later on as well, Jitendra. What's your most recommended book that you give away as often as you read it?
Well, and this is slightly spiritual thing. So the Bhagavad Gita for me is the one that I give away the most, because I in fact pay people to give away the book. I think the Hare Krishna people give away the Bhagavad Gita. I pay people to give away that book for free because it's a great message in life, etc. But that aside, because I don't want to have religious connotations, so that aside, the book I would recommend is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, okay, by Robert Kiyosaki. I've got his Cash Flow Game. Perfect Health by Deepak Chopra, okay, Mindset and Healing Yourself. And how can I not mention my all-time hero, Mr. Tony Robbins? So I've walked on burning coal, etc., and that's because of this guy, Tony Robbins. Unleash the power within. So awaken the giant within as well. So we did all that crazy stuff, and then obviously everybody, it's a must-read for everyone. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Okay.
Jitendra, that's a library of books that you've recommended.
That's just a few of my books.
We'll put links to all of those in the show notes. But
okay,
I like that you've recommended so many, and there's all of those are classics really that any entrepreneur should probably get their eyeballs around. Most definitely. What do you love listening to or watching on the YouTube? So I think you've already intimated to this, Jitendra.
This is not politically correct, okay? So my favorite song, I got introduced to this song by my daughter when she was at university. She said, "Oh, Daddy, you got to see this." And she put Kanye West, yes, dare I say Kanye West, and Jay-Z, the Hustle Hop song. Have you ever heard it?
No.
It's called Hustle Hop. So there's two,
Okay.
Black and Yellow by Khalifa and Hustle Hop by Kanye West and Jay-Z. It's called something else in Paris, okay? So it's Bleep in Paris. And I remember at my daughter's wedding in Tuscany, we did our daughter's wedding in Tuscany, I got the DJ to play Black and Yellow, followed by Hustle Hop, and I jumped onto the balcony, which was about that high, to do the song like that. And then my son got on. I'll send you the video, okay, if you get me your mobile phone or WhatsApp. And then my son-in-law got on the balcony. The ironic thing is both of them got off the balcony before I did. Okay.
Wow.
I love the song. And so I played at the gym, DJ Snake, lots of these Colombian type songs, etc. I mean, I listen to a lot of songs. People look at me and think, "Really?" And I say, "Yeah, really."
Fantastic. Well, I can tell that they're high energy, and
oh, absolutely.
You know, Jitendra, you're pretty high energy, so that's fantastic. Thanks for the recommendations. I'll check him out. I've not heard of them before. Jitendra, who's an up and comer? Someone that we should be keeping an eye on in the future.
Well, in our industry, the food and beverage industry?
Yeah.
There it is. Keep an eye on this. Okay? This will be the martini glass. And ideally, one day, James Bond movie, they'll be like, "Can I have a shaken, not stirred?" And the barman's going to go, "You know what? None of that. Have one of these martinis in one of these glasses, okay?"
I tell you, if you get product placement in a James Bond movie, I'd say you've probably made it, Jitendra. That's wonderful.
You know,
thanks
a challenge.
for
rise to the occasion.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for betting on yourself. And again, there's where's the best place for people to find out more about you, Jitendra, and what you're all about?
So I think if they go on to the coaching business, which is www.titanium, titaniummindset.co.uk, titaniummindset.co.uk. There's an About Me section that tells my story, basically. I offer, I think, 15-minute chat to people. So if they're going through depression or what I call energy vampires, or people in their friend circle, social media are putting them down, I'm happy to have a chat with them and get them to see a better way to deal with these things. I can do an hour. I can give up my time for an hour for somebody who really needs my time for free, not a problem. But I want to help millennials and the older generation to break free from their pensions and travel the world and live on, which is what I'm going to be doing. I've retired this year, so I'm going to do my online business, but I'm going to travel. I'm going to show how people you can live on $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month. Good quality food and a good lifestyle. Setting up online businesses and earning money while you sleep and all this dreamy stuff that people talk about. But, just proof of the pudding is just make it happen and show people you can do it.
Wonderful.
I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope it does.
I think it does. Thanks, Jitendra. There we have it. Jitendra Patel is the founder of Gemini Chiller, Wow Cocktails, and multiple other businesses that are out there. He also delivers personal development and business coaching through titaniummindset.co.uk. Jitendra managed to get his first customer, I can't believe he did this, going into a bar, introducing his Gemini Chiller cocktail glass and asking the brazen question, "How many do you want?" And he managed to sell 100 glasses. Fantastic story. They'll definitely make a film about that one day, Jitendra. He loves using WhatsApp to reach out to his close friends and sends out daily inspiration and spiritual wisdom. And Book-wise, look, he's recommended all of them. I'll give you the top two. He's recommended the Gita. He thinks it was going to change your life. And also Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I remember reading that back in the day when I was like in my teens, and it absolutely blew my mind. I think it's a really good book to read for anybody thinking about becoming an entrepreneur and understanding how assets work in a business. He thinks that we should be keeping an eye on him, on his Gemini chiller. That's going to be the next big thing in the what's the industry? Hospitality industry, and maybe food and beverage industry. And maybe we should all be watching James Bond to check if Jitendra and his glass turns up in a film someday soon. You've heard it here first, the Broccolis, if you're listening in. And you can contact Jitendra. You can go and head over to geminichiller.co.uk to check out the glass. I think you should all check it out. We'll put up a photograph of it in the show notes so you can check it out. But check it out, geminichiller.co.uk. And also, if you want to, if you've been inspired by Jitendra and you like what he's talking about and you're thinking about, if you want some support with your mindset or building a business, reach out to Jitendra at titaniummindset.co.uk. I'm sure he'll follow up with you. Jitendra, thanks for joining us today on the JOD Pod.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
And thank you for joining us today on the JOD Pod for our interview with Jitendra. If you've enjoyed this interview and Jitendra's energy and enthusiasm for life, make sure you play the YouTube game. You need to hit subscribe. You need to hit the uppy thumb button and the bell. And why not ask Jitendra a question in the comments? I'll make sure that Jitendra comes back and answers every single one of these. If you've got a product that you're thinking about selling, if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you've had struggles in your life and you're like Jitendra's energy, come back and ask Jitendra a question. I'm sure he'll be happy to help. Hopefully you'll be inspired by Jitendra today and that you want to go and create and build something for yourself. So please, build something, step out your comfort zone and inspire the next generation. Thanks for joining us today on the JOD Pod. If you enjoyed this interview, why don't you check out some of these other interviews that we've done on the JOD Pod. More inspirational CEOs, coaches, entrepreneurs, founders, and authors. I'm sure there's something here that will inspire you to build something new.